Good afternoon. This week's question is an OSHA question about soil classification according to OSHA and also choosing the slope for a layered profile. One thing that I want you to remember on this topic is when it comes to excavation, which is a typical question for geotechnical engineering, if you want to use OSHA, refer to Subpart P. Personally, I had this issue during the exam. It took me some time to find which part of OSHA should I use for excavation question. Generally, becoming familiar with the topics of subparts in OSHA 1926 is helpful. Okay, so the question is about soil classification according to OSHA and a slope. So for soils, there is 4 types of soil in OSHA. One type is the rock. Let me show you the reference manual. So you are not the reference manual, the OSHA. So you are familiar with it during the exam to find different topics during the exam. So we have the stable rock, and a stable rock gives you the option of not having any slope. And then we have different types of soil, type A, type B, and type C, and they get weaker as we go from A to C. And you start from type A, check if your soil qualifies for type A, then move to type B, and then C. So let's go back to the question. The question says an excavation contractor proposes to use a slope sides only, no shoring a trench shield, for a 16 feet deep utility trench. The exposed soil profile is a 0 to 6 feet granular fill, well-graded sand and gravel, and 6 to 16 feet of stiff silty clay. The contractor classifies the trench as type A soil based on single confined compressive strength test of 1.6 TSF on a sample taken from the silty clay layer. Reviewing the proposal under OSHA 29 CFR 1926 Subpart P. So this the person who was designing this question was kind. Usually they don't give you this. What is the most appropriate response? So we go to type A to see if this soil qualifies for that. Type A reads means cohesive soil with an unconfined compressive strength of 1.6 ton per square foot. So here we have 2 data points. One is the soil is granular, well-graded sand, so it is not cohesive. And another point is we have the strength. The first part doesn't qualify to be type A. So this design is wrong. It is not type A. Both layers are not type A. The top layer might be type B, and then the bottom layer can be type A because it's both cohesive and it has the strength that qualifies for type A. So let's read the answers. Option A says accept the type A classification and the proposed slope. This is wrong. It is not type A. Reject type A classification. This is correct. Let's read other. Reject the proposal because Subpart P prohibits a slope-only excavation at any depth greater than 5 feet. I'll show you how to find this answer. So let's keep this. And then option D says accept the classification, which is wrong because it is not type A. So For different soil types, we have the slope, and then the slope is allowed to 20 feet. So option C is also incorrect because the reason that we are using to reject the plan is wrong. We come to option B because rejecting type A classification because the upper layer cannot be type A regardless of the test. On the lower layer, the weakest stratum exposed governs the uh, protective system selection. So yes, this answer is correct. And also we have type B on top and type A on the bottom. So you don't need it for this question, but just giving you some idea on how to deal with a layered soil. If the top layer is softer or weaker than the bottom layer, we are allowed to use the slope for each soil type. But if it is the other way, the top layer is stiff and the bottom layer is weak, we use the slope for the bottom layer for both layers. And that is because this bottom layer needs to tolerate the this bottom layer needs to tolerate the top layer, and if this one has some slope, some steep slope, it will affect the bottom layer. So for the condition that the bottom layer is soft, we use the soft slope for both layers. Okay, I think this covered a good portion of excavation. Now you know where to look for what during the exam, and you also know how to deal with different layering. The only thing that is left, and you may read in your time, is when you have a support or shield, how to deal with those. Uh, and then you can use the steps in different types of soil. Is there any question? Was my mic open? Okay. Unless there is any question, I wish you a good week and best luck studying for PE exam. So